Keith and the Baseball Game by Colin Cheddar Cressy. Keith and his sister Mary had just moved into the neighborhood. Their mother and father were unloading their sofa and bringing it into their apartment, so they were left by the moving van. Keith was standing around the van, talking to the moving man. Keith was frightened. He was worried he would not make any friends. Just then, he spotted 3 kids, 2 boys and 1 girl. He learned their names were Fred, Joe, and Lily. Suddenly, Joe said, "I dare you to join our baseball team." "Yeah, we dare you," said Fred. Finally, Keith said, "Okay, you win. I'll join your old baseball team." That day, Keith looked up Joe and Fred's coach. The coach lived at 428 Cherry Road. Later in the day, Keith went to see if the coach needed more players. The coach said his name was Frank, and yes, he did need more players, and he would gladly let Keith play. He also said that he would test Keith tomorrow at 3 o'clock. Keith practiced all summer, and all that practicing in the dare had brought him onto the ball field with several hundred people staring at him. Keith and his family arrived at the game at 2 o'clock. Keith went over to see where Coach Frank was standing to practice for the game. Soon Keith was lost in the world of baseball. Before Keith knew it, there were only 10 more minutes until the game would end. Keith's team walked off the field to be assigned their new positions. Keith was very fidgety. The team was tied 3-3, and he was playing batter. It was late afternoon, and the sun was blazing. He could feel his heart thumping. He could hear his team chanting his name. He could smell hot dogs from the hot dog stand. He took a deep breath. He heard his coach saying, "You can do it, you can do it," but Keith was not listening. He was thinking, "I will have to run as fast as a cheetah." The pitcher pitched. The ball whizzed through the air. There was a loud crack. Keith sprinted around the bases. He slid in at home plate. The ball was still flying. It went over the fence. Home run! Everybody looked at the scoreboard. It said 3-4. They had won. Keith, Joe's, and Fred's family strolled home. Fred, Joe, and Keith ahead of everybody. Friends forever. The end.